Hi everyone. Good evening, everyone. Actually, when I started my designing, first thing I started doing is I realized doing. I realized myself doing, looking at things differently. There are many products that we use every day on a day-to-day basis, morning to evening, and it has become part of our lives, and we don't see them as like different things away from our life. But once when you started designing and seeing things from the designer's perspective, I started to see both good and bad things about the design. I realized myself doing, looking at things differently. There are many products that we use every day on a day-to-day basis, morning to evening, and it has become part of our lives, and we don't see them as like different things away from our life. But once when you started designing and seeing things from the designer's perspective, I started to see both good and bad things about the design. I started to look at the details. I started to look at the intent, the purpose, and the performance and efficiency and stuff like that. Similarly, many people find it difficult, find it very annoying to use the product, and as time go and stuff, that people get used to it and they don't see the flaw in that. Or we can see it in a different perspective, that is the people adapting to it, or is the people changing to accept bad designs in their lives. And that thinking brings me here, talking about ethical practices in modern designing, and how important it is, that time for designing conscientiously, uh, which is like largely ignored or rarely talked about in modern designing practices. So yeah, this is the journey that I come across. So from here and all these years of learnings, I believe that I have gained a superpower. That superpower is empowering a brighter future by tackling tough challenges with innovative and human-centered design. So there are two aspects of this. One is there is a great power, like tackling tough challenges with innovative human-centered design, which is a great power I earned through these years of learnings. And that comes with great responsibility as well, which is, I believe, empowering a brighter future, being a designer. So, what is empowering a brighter future? The empowering brighter future, according to ChatGPT, of course, I checked, it means creating a better, more positive future by giving people the tools, opportunities, and support they need to succeed and thrive. We also emphasize on leading a higher quality of life, and giving equal opportunities, more opportunities to everyone to thrive, right? So this is the great responsibility. So I start to see this superpower is not just a power that can do anything, but it's also a responsibility that taken it as a very serious thing. Because in the past, from the day where human evolution, a human has started innovating things, starting from the Stone Age time, where they invented the first knife for hunting, using the stones and stuff like that, which laid the foundation for the innovations, and it is continuously it is still continuing till today. It led path to the industrial design. It led paths to the digital designing. It leads paths to the next generation. So we exactly do we know what comes next in the future of the design or future of innovation? I think it's too early to think about it, or too early to clearly tell or clearly see what is coming. But it is important to see what we do today, because what we do today is going to have a foundation for what comes next. So that is why I believe that it is important. It is time to designing conscientiously, because when you talk about autonomy, the users, it starts from users knowing the brand, and they install the application in their mobile phone or devices, or it could be a physical product. Are they able to use it independently without any external factors affecting them physically or mentally or any other situations? So one could be, is there any, so what, first thing we should look at it is, is there a over personalization of information, or is there a over invasive algorithms that gives insights to the users, which probably think that users might be thinking that, is this app judging me, is this app tracking me? So it can create some anxious feel about the using the app, continue to using the product. So that we should consider in a real big way. And we have to give them all the abilities, and let them make their own independent choices, and freedom of navigation. So freedom of navigation is again being very specific to software applications, and independent choices, as if they want to uninstall the app, they can go ahead and uninstall it. If they want to remove permissions, remove consent, or if they, whatever the choice that user makes, we shouldn't create any frictions, we shouldn't create um, we couldn't stop any navigation, just because it is going to affect the business need or anything. Because more than business, the user is going to remember the brand, and if they ever decide to come back, they should remember a good things about the the usage or their experience they had with the app before. And then they should also be very confident about continuing using the product, and we should make sure that they are confident about their personal data they share with us, and they are confident about their privacy, and they have control over what to be shared and what not to be shared, what are the settings we allow them to tweak, and what are the settings we allow them to set, and all this stuff. So we should give the complete liberty to users, to the intent of the product and to intent of the users, so that both business and users gets the benefit. And moving on, so second consideration we should take it seriously is the consequences of our design choices when you are designing the interfaces. So one is, we should avoid potholes in the journey, such as probably like when the user accidentally refreshes the browser through a sign up journey or through an application journey, and they accidentally refresh it, and all their processes all their progress have lost. Or if they spend some time in filling a long form, and if they by mistake refresh the page, all their efforts have gone waste in a fraction of a second. So we have to consider the efforts that user is making, and interact in the time spent on this app, and we have to consider if there is probably sometimes it can put them in a risk of danger also, or uh, just like sharing your personal details on a public forum, or sharing somebody else's public personal details on a public forum. So we have to have control on all those information being misused or stuff like that. So this is one important thing to think about consequences. And second is how your design choices affect the society. So this is something that um, you can connect with the other aspects of the ethical design considerations, like digital well-being and sustainability and stuff like that. And we have to make sure that user we are not practicing the user in a wrong way, or in a way that it affects their lifestyle and lead them in a wrong lifestyle or a improper way of living. So it could be as simple as creating continuous engagements through notifications, or continuous engagements through app updates, like creating a FOMO and stuff like that. The user is feeling compelled to use the product. So that is something that we should avoid, which you know essentially it happens a lot in habit making apps like Duolingo and stuff like that. So that is one. So when you design for future, um, when you follow these workflows or methodologies, and follow these ethical design practices, um, we can confidently say that we are going in the right direction. And also be prepared for what comes next. So we can look at our existing technologies and design for it, or we can look at the past examples, like what worked, what did not work, what actually empowered people and what did not. But at the phase of the technology and advancements, It is becoming the predictive algorithms and anticipatory experiences are becoming more common, and there are like AIs are evolving, probably to replace teaching or designing or developing skill sets, right? So how this is going to be affected, how is this going to make an impact in the future, what is this going to make the people in the future, that is something that we have to consider. But the research methods that we have today, or the examples that we learned from in the past, may not be applicable in this new revolution of digital designing, right? So we have to, be very careful at this moment, not taking any radical. So I'm just talking about, especially working on these technologies that takes the, next generation of technology, right? Like AI and machine learning. So we have to be like very careful on making radical any design choices or design decisions. We have to like keep looking for the negative or positive incomes as we, slowly roll out or design or experiments. And we should also see like, how crucial it is to create experiences that doesn't, radically change the human life also, which can lead to like difficulty in adaptation of new technology into their hands. So that is the current situation where we are, stepping into next generation of designing, especially for, when the AI comes, like there could be interface-less designing, it could be like design for conversation, design for mental models, design for wireless communications without interfaces also, right? So we don't know what exactly the technology is going to take it. And it could be like on experiments coming and going until we find, this technology finds a right place in people's hands that, actually makes their experience more meaningful. So yes, that is about the designing for future and designing conscientiously.
Can we take a few questions?
Yes, yes.
Uh, so so there are a few. So in inclusivity, you spoke about there are, so to make inclusive design, there are certain guidelines which is there, right? So uh, what is your opinion on that? So there are some WCAG guidelines and AAA, AA kind of rating kinds of coming up. How do you kind of or and there are, like, we were working on a government project, so there are government guidelines also which kinds of surfaces up, and somewhere they talk about all of this inclusivity. They need to design patterns in that way. So what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, I think at some point, when designers don't take initiatives, eventually the society or the respective governance is going to take that into control, and they're going to establish a guidelines or publish a framework, because the product companies or designers are not we're not taking this seriously and not considering into their products when they design it. So whenever we design not considering these aspects, of course there are the governance who are the activists who is, uh, focusing on, better society, is obviously going to come back to us and trying to correct us and, publish these guidelines and frameworks to us. And that will be like, it's a good thing, but it's going to be very late and very uh, I would say it is not very responsible for us to like wait until someone comes to us and tell us like, hey, what you're doing is not right for the society. Did you think about this? You have to think about this. Then we say like, okay, fine, there's a compliance has come to us and I have to comply. So that shouldn't be an obligation, that should be an initiative for most of the product companies, than doing something and then coming back with the compliance issues.